Hello, and welcome back to Mortals and Portals, a Pathfinder real play podcast. I am your host and GM, Zach, and joining me at the table is...
Adam, and I play Jules, an Azar Ketty Bard.
I'm Joel, and I play Dax, a kobold rogue.
Ryan, I play Ryu, Tiefling Magus.
Darren, I play Waltz, a human champion.
Yeah, hey, remember last episode when we said we're not going to do Ancestry in class anymore? We changed our mind. That was just a joke. We were faking you guys out. So
I
yeah,
specifically remember yelling at people to go back to school if they wanted class.
Yeah, well, they all went to school. They went back to school, and now they're ready again. So we can.
You made me look stupid, Zach.
And now
that's why we're doing it. Actually,
yeah. Just out to
I
get
hate
me.
Ryan. I want to make him look dumb. Yeah, so Ryan's a liar. Don't trust anything he says. So, or me, I guess, because I was the one who said it.
It was all Ryan's idea, really.
Yeah.
And then.
Anyways, yeah, I suppose you guys probably want to recap. So let's do that. So last time on Mortals and Portals, the party mourned the loss of a friend, our beloved Digsby, who died saving Dax from a crumbling tower, and it affected all of Karos. The entire town was there remembering Digsby, and many of our party members gave very beautiful speeches in his honor, and everyone just took pause and remembered the hero, the friend, the wonderful orchardist, which is a word, Digsby.
Probably.
Google it. It is. And in time, everyone was ready to focus on the next task at hand, and they met in the tavern with Dunadas and other important people in Karos to come up with a plan on how to defeat Sindor. And with the help of a captive Drake Knight, Geldir, who is Waltz's best friend, according to Waltz, they decided to come up with a plan where they would go hunt down all of the drakes on Nisreen in the region of Gainmar and Pegos to remove the drake-oriented powers from Sindor. And then they're going to go to Scale Keep to battle Sindor and remove the Arcanor to release a spell over Nisreen and free them from Sindor's tyranny. And that is where we ended our session. So that's where we'll start our session, in the Tavern of Bumblebrooks, with the four of you having just come up with your plan, standing over a knocked-out Geldir, because I think Waltz just punched him square in the face again. And, yeah, so I'll kick it over to you guys.
What time is it?
Well, you guys slept in, and then you had an epic battle, and then a funeral, and then you chatted in the tavern for a while. So I'd say it's about late afternoon.
Hey, Dunadas, the Drake that we just fought was pretty tough for us to take down. We had a giant crossbow that was really essential in that whole battle. So do you have any recommendations on which Drake we should kind of go after first, seeing as though we could probably use a little bit more experience fighting some of these Drakes?
Well, I do think it would be wise to perhaps fight the weaker of the two. It would, of course, give you more experience. But, Waltz, you did mention you had a weapon previously, and I think I can help you in that department once again. You are a butcher, correct? I heard your story that you shared at Digsby's funeral.
Oh, yeah, we got a fine butcher shop. Did you have any question about any meats or what the best cut of a cow might be, or kind of how to go about any of these things? Because I could definitely help you out.
I don't think that would be relevant in this exact moment, but perhaps I could pick your brain later.
Yeah.
No, I had something else in mind. Would you mind following me for a brief moment?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh, and, you do look fairly strong, but, he looks around the room and, taps Jules and says, would you mind helping us carry something?
Won't be necessary, but you could tag along, Jules.
I think it will be.
All right.
Thank you.
No, it won't be. I'm really strong.
I'm sure you'll handle it just fine.
Dunadas looks to Dax and Ryu. We won't be long. If there's any final preparations you need to make, I suggest you do it quickly. And he walks out of Bumblebrooks, leading the way for Waltz and Jules.
Toriel was up there, correct?
Yes, Toriel was there.
Okay. Toriel, I have these bandages in my bag, but I'm afraid it's not going to be enough if one of these guys gets hurt. Is there anything I can barter with you for? Any tools? Can you teach me a thing or two? I just love to be a little bit more prepared for the next time somebody gets hurt.
Right, so when you look at Toriel, you can see her hair is very frayed and just stray, and she's sweaty, dirty. She's been helping out, healing you guys in the battle. It's been a hectic day for her. You can see the emotion on her face, but as soon as you start talking to her, you see her throw all of that obvious turmoil away and cheer up, and she looks to you and says, "Oh, Dax, the reason I only gave you those bandages, if you recall, was because I didn't quite know the character of your party, but I surely do now, and there is much I could do to help you. Perhaps I could teach you a thing or two, if you have the time. Dunadast will be back shortly, but you seem like a smart fella."
Yeah, I mean, I'd appreciate that a lot. I can't have something like this happen again.
Absolutely. Well, she looks over to the Drake Knight Geldir that's knocked out on the floor and says, "If we can get him back to Bloom Springs, my clinic, perhaps I could teach you a thing or two and give you proper supplies. Here, I'll help you carry him. Let's go."
Yeah, we'll pick him up and head out.
Cool. So yeah, she'll grab like his shoulders and then you grab his legs and you pick him up and he's just out cold. His arms are dangling, his head's to the side, and you start walking towards Bloom Springs.
Dax, perhaps on the way we can discuss our next moves here.
Yeah, that's fine.
With regards to which Drake you think we should battle next, what would be your preference?
I mean, I like the idea of being in a familiar climate. I mean, I know we mentioned it before, but you and I both from a more arid place.
Yes.
But Waltz brings up a good point. That battle was hard, and we were certainly more well-equipped than we will be when we're out on our own. So it might not be a bad idea to slay the weaker one first. Maybe see if we can learn some things about it, learn some habits that we can then use when we have to handle the larger one.
There's certainly many factors to consider. I know Dunadas believes the Frost Drake to be the weaker of the two.
Yeah.
And the Desert Drake to be the stronger of the two. However, my other concern is the environmental impact on our way to those drakes. I feel, with yours and my expertise in the climates that we come from, we may have an easier time making it to the Desert Drake, whereas we could end up weaker on our way through a frosty environment.
For sure. It's definitely worth considering.
My other concern is this. Why do you think Geldir was so keen to want to join our party on our way back towards the Arcanor?
I mean, he says he wants to get home. I'm sure it's more complicated than that, but I have to imagine Sindor won't be super welcoming of him if he comes back alive, having given us information. So I think your instincts are right. There's got to be something more we're not seeing, but I'm sorry to say I don't know what it is.
My thoughts on the matter are, Geldir here is seeking safe passage on his way back to rejoining with the Drake Knights, which leads me to believe that there are more than Drake Knights we will need to worry about beyond this town.
And with that, we'll jump over to Waltz and Jules. So you follow Dunadast out into the town center, and you see a lot of townspeople gawking around something, and he goes, "Please move out of the way, all of you." And they go, "Oh, yes." And then they scatter, and you just see the Drake head that was decapitated by Ryu laying on the ground. And Dunadas walks up and gives it a once-over, looking up and down, and then looks to Waltz, and he says, "Lad, I'm afraid Rhaegorn's acid gland that powers his breath weapon is useful for something I need to do. Only problem is, removing it is dangerous. See if you puncture it, well, you could say goodbye to your hand. And I'm not very dexterous, would you say, and seeing as you have experience with butchering animals of sorts, perhaps you could do it."
Can I say that Waltz, as he's talking, is already like lifting up his mouth to kind of get like crawl inside of the head?
"Oh, lad, sorry. We don't want to do this here. We need to take this down to my lab. This is why I brought Jules. We'll need to carry it."
No, I think we could do it right here.
Lad, seriously.
Walt, I think he more so wants to save the townspeople from the grotesque nature of what we're about to do.
Yeah, I agree. We should take it out of here, obviously. I mean, can you help me out with this thing, Jules? Jeez, are you just going to stand there?
He's kind of gaslighting
I'll just look
at...
I would never gaslight anybody.
I'll look at Dunadas as he says that, and then, yes, sorry. Let me get right on that.
Yeah, sorry, my friend Jules here likes to procrastinate a lot, and he's kind of crazy. It's all his fault, really. But I would never gaslight you, Jules.
Interesting. The
crazy.
way
I
you
know.
guys interact is odd to me, but that's fine. Just lift the head, be careful. If you drop it again, you could puncture the acid gland. That wouldn't be, well, desirable.
I'll kind of pay attention to how Waltz positions himself and kind of what he grabs onto to lift, and I'll do the same.
So you guys, with your combined strengths, would certainly be able to lift this drake head. So just for a visual, the head of the drake is about the size of maybe 2 full-grown men's chest, would be like the actual head, and then a little bit of the neck in terms of size, but it's nowhere near the size of a dragon, but is a pretty large
Gotcha.
beast. And it's
Okay.
heavy, and it's got a heavy skeleton and things like that. So you guys pick that up, some blood drips down out of its open neck, and Dunadas says, "This way, lads." And he starts walking towards a hut that is kind of on the fringes of the town. And he opens the door, and it's kind of got a musty smell in there. And there's a big table in the center of this room, and he pushes it and slides it out of the way. And then there's a rug, and then he lifts up the rug, and then you see a trap door underneath, and he bends down and lifts it up, and it creaks as it opens, and then you see some stairs going down into a dark room underneath the floorboards, and he goes, "This way," and he starts to climb down.
Yeah, this isn't suspicious at all. I trust you, Dunadas, but yeah, it kind of seems like you might murder us here.
Well, if I wanted to kill you, I don't think I would have helped you with the Drake Knights.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. All right, let's go.
So you guys follow him down. He lights a couple candles and illuminates this room, and you see a lot of tables and vials and various parchments with scribbles on it and maps and all sorts of things just sprawled out. And he goes, "If the Drake Knights ever figured out I was doing any sorts of work like this down here, well, I'm afraid I wouldn't still be here. In fact, the only reason they've left me alone for this long is Sindor kept me in case anything went wrong with the Arcanor, but of course I constructed it perfectly, so nothing happened. If you would lay the drake head up on this table, I would much appreciate it."
Yeah, I'll give it a big old heave with Jules and just kind of plop it on the table.
Right, so as you can see, he gestures into its mouth. He says, "There's an acid gland there, and I need you to remove it and not puncture it, and then I need you to set it here." And he pulls out this, it looks sort of like metal, but he's got a sifter, and then it's over this pot that is made of a similar material, and he asks you to set it there.
I imagine, like, as you were explaining where it was, Jules kind of like ducks down and looks into it, like blocking Waltz's view, and then realizes like he doesn't need to be here, and look around and sorry, back up so Waltz can get a good look.
Jules, I'm going to have you grab that candle over there. I need you to kind of give me some light without obviously burning this thing. Can I get anything you have to cut? You got a scalpel or anything that's a little bit more heavy duty?
Oh, yes. He rummages around in some tools and hands you a scalpel.
You got anything a little bit bigger than this?
Oh, yes, he rummages around a little bit more and pulls out something a little bit bigger.
Oh, yeah. This'll do. Do you have
Lad,
anything I can...
again, be careful. I must stress, you must be careful.
Oh, no, of course. I need to sharpen this thing because you obviously don't keep very sharp blades around here. You have a sharpening stone I can use?
My goodness, I didn't know you'd be so needy about this. Yes.
Well, do you want this done right or not?
Oh, no. Trust me, I appreciate your meticulous detail. Yes, there is a sharpening stone over there.
Yeah, okay. And I'll start sharpening up this blade. And I'm like, first rule of being a butcher is always to let the knife do the work. So you always need a sharp blade. And so you can just kind of see that as I do this right here, that the knife is doing all the work. You don't muscle anything. And I'll just kind of very carefully carve out that acid sac.
Okay, roll me a mercantile lore check that you had for being a butcher. So I just want to see how well you can translate your knowledge of more common animals to this one.
7.
Did you really roll a 7?
Sure did.
Uh-oh. Jules takes a step back.
Okay. That's excellent. Okay,
Oh, no.
so you reach in and you had this very sharp knife and you're going to cut, and you accidentally puncture the acid gland, and it starts to spill out through the bottom of the drake's mouth. And he goes, "Oh, lad, pull the mouth away now, move it."
I'll just I'll grab the nearest like container I see, kind of like
No,
like
don't
an
grab a
oil
container.
pan
No,
or something.
move,
I'll just
there's
start.
a second acid gland. It's okay. Just move the drake's head.
I'll keep going with my original plan to try and catch the acid.
I'll try to move it.
No, stop. Okay. So you grab like this random pot on the ground and then hold it, and it's burning straight through the pot. And he goes, "No, this is a special pot. You needed to use this one."
Oh yeah, next time hand me that one. This will go a lot quicker and a lot cleaner.
Walt, pay attention.
All right, about that second acid gland, that was just a practice run. It's been a long time since I've cut into the mouth of a beast that needed a sac removed. Yeah,
That's fine. Yes.
Do you want me to do it?
Jules, if you want to give it the old college try, but I feel like we only have one more attempt at this.
That is correct.
Are you
But this
sure
is our
you can do it?
This is our last attempt at this, and this is absolutely critical that we do this correctly.
All right, Jules, if you want to do it, man, be my guest.
No, I'm just. You do it.
Why don't
Just
you
be
know,
careful, okay?
You know what it is you guys are kind of crowding me. You didn't really hold the candle the right way when I asked you to, Jules. It's really not my fault. You're the crazy one here. I would never
He's
gaslight
gaslighting
you,
you
though.
again.
No, would never do that. But will you play me a nice calming little tune on your ocarina there so that I can kind of calm my nerves when I'm dealing with such a fine beast like this?
Do you want the candle or a song?
I think I want a song. You're pretty good
I
at
can
playing
hold the
those.
candle. You could play the song.
I'll roll my eyes, hand the candle to Tuna Test. Hold my
Dunadas
ocarina
kind
out,
of steps
just-
around the puddle of acid on the ground carefully to get to the other side and then hold the candle. And we'll cut back to Dax and Ryu that are walking into Bloom Springs. So you're approaching the door, and Ryu, as you're also following them in, you hear someone calling out your name. Ryu.
I turn to look towards them.
And you can sense the familiar aura of Ira, the first person that came to help you when you guys walked into town, running up to you, trying to get your attention.
Ira, is it?
Yes. Sorry, are you busy with Toriel?
We got it from here, Ryu. You're good. We can take care of this.
Thank you, Dax. Yes, I have a moment.
Okay, so Dax and Toriel move into her clinic and close the door. And then Ira looks at you and says, "Listen, the town of Karos is obviously in danger now, what we've done here. And I understand the four of you are leaving, and you were our, well, let's just say it, our protectors. But we're going to have to fend for ourselves now. I noticed you were quite skilled with a sword, and seeing as we have some of the Drake Knight's weapons now, a few of us will need to take up arms if anything happens. I was wondering if you could spare a moment to teach us some footwork and perhaps some sword swings."
Taking up arms should be the last thing you do if the Drake Knight arrive.
"Oh, really? And why is that?" She folds her arms. So I don't know if Rhea would have noticed that, but she did have a hatchet when you came to town. And this is a darker-skinned dwarf female.
I do remember you mentioning the hatchet, but yeah, I'm going to say Ryu probably had no idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she crosses her arms and cocks her head and says, "Oh, really? Why is that?"
If the Drake Knight arrive and this town is in danger, nobody here is experienced enough to do battle with them. You tell them exactly where we are, and we will take care of it.
"Oh, and you think that'll go well when the Drake Knights come to town and we tell them where you are, that they'll spare us? And so what if we're not able to defeat them outright? What if we need to buy other townsfolk time to escape?"
You do battle with them. Not only will you die, but so will those trying to escape.
"Do you enter every battle thinking you will not die?"
Putting yourself in danger's wake with overconfidence is a recipe for death.
"It's not overconfidence. It's protecting the people I love, and you're going to help us."
Have you experience with a blade?
"Yes, but not to your skill level, I'm afraid, and I'm more familiar with axes. If you're too cowardly to teach us anything, then so be it. But if you want to actually contribute like the rest of us around here, then you'll meet us in the town square."
I furrow my brow slightly. Very well. Show me. I put my hand on the hilt of my sword.
She chuckles and says, "You want to use your odachi against my hatchet as a test of my skill?"
You think the Drake Knight will care about the difference in size of your weapons?
"No, I do not think they will."
Then, enough talking.
She pulls out her hatchet and she spins it. You can hear it twirling. and you can tell just by the sound it makes that it's a very small weapon, and she slides her heel back and takes a stance. So you can instantly tell that this dwarf woman has no fear.
Good. I want to see if she can hit me, basically.
She's waiting there for a moment, and she says, well, make your strike.
I'll make my strike when the time presents itself. And I lower my stance.
She lowers her stance even further.
Ooh.
I get even
You
lower.
lower your stance more?
Yeah.
So she is going to make an attack roll against you. So you start to, you can sense more auras forming around you. People are very curious as to what's going on. She makes an attack roll and rolls an 11.
Does not hit even close.
So she goes to swing and you don't even pull your sword out. You just pull back a little bit. She comes up short. She's going to do a second swing and miss again. And your sword is still not even out, and you sidestep it once more. And then she stops and says, your turn.
Tell me again about this experience you've had. And then I will make a strike. I'm just going to make one big, hard overhead strike on her. See how we do.
Are you actually trying to cut
Ree's
her? Or
over here
just prove
killing
that
townspeople.
Are you just trying to prove that you could hit her?
I'll tell you what I do after I
So
reveal
if you're
what-
trying to do non-lethal damage in Pathfinder, you take a -2 status penalty to your attack roll.
So I'll just tell you I nat 20'd on it.
Did you really? Okay, then you can do whatever you want this strike to do.
So I just want this to be like the most powerful, intimidating strike she has ever seen in her entire life. I'm going to take my giant Odachi, raise it up overhead, thrust down as hard as I possibly can, stepping forward with a big push from my back leg, and it's just going to be this incredible force driving right over the top of her head as air pushes the dust around her and maybe even blows some wind behind her, maybe her hair back, and I'll stop like millimeters away from the top of her head.
She freezes in place and drops the hatchet, and her breath is very shaky, and she says, congratulations. You proved to the person that came to you for help that you're a better fighter than them.
I feel like such a jerk.
Everyone's muttering like, yeah, that's actually kind of rude. Like, what's this guy's deal? Benjamin's like, hey, he's actually
Benjamin,
really
go
nice.
away.
It was actually really nice. It's Ryu.
I sheath my sword and I say, you are unfit for battle. Those unfit
That's
for
why
battle
I'm...
will get themselves killed. It is best you
Very
leave
well.
the fighting to the more capable. However, I am willing to show you the basics to begin improving yourself and to defend yourself only when absolutely necessary. Do you understand, Ira?
I told you. He's really nice.
Benjamin, I'm also kind of doing a thing right now.
Oh, sorry.
I think
this,
Waltz
I
is.
have this toxic trait where I talk over people, and my responses are usually pretty delayed.
I think Waltz is working on butchering a dragon. He might need a little bit of help
Oh, okay.
if you want to find
good
him.
idea. Good idea. Okay, bye.
He's with Dunadast.
Oh, he is? Okay, I know where that in his lab. I know about that.
Sure.
Okay, bye.
So then I kind of turn so that I'm now standing next to Ira and kind of showing her maybe some like grip of how I'm holding like my weapon.
Okay, a few more people are coming out of the crowd and picking up some of the Drake Knight swords and trying to mimic the teachings that you're passing on.
Sure. So I know she's got an axe, but I'll maybe just kind of mention like taking your dominant hand and putting it next to like the guard of the sword or something like that. I'll kind of talk about maybe like the basics of what would make a good sword swing or something. And I'll say, I'm making all this up, by the way.
Ryan, are you in real life good with swords? Because we expect you to give actual good teachings. Anyone should be able
No,
to
this
take
is
notes
what I
for
was
this.
saying. I was like trying to figure out beforehand. And like, since you told me minutes before, I'm like, was trying to think of things on the spot. So definitely don't use any of this at home, kids. But I'll kind of mention the things about the grip, and I'll say some things that seem like they would make sense to Ryan that Ryu might tell anyone listening. And that's begin with your blade out in front of you. Then, as quickly and efficiently as possible, you should raise it to the level of your eyes, push with your back leg, and thrust downward upon your foe. The most powerful strike comes from everywhere but your arms. Remember. And then
And
I'll
that's
just
how you
kind
work on your golf swing. job.
take them through that movement a little bit, and then I'll retire and go play golf.
Cool. Yeah, so everyone's trying to do the motions. You can sense their auras, obviously not quite nailing it. but you're working with them. So you're training some townsfolk of Karos on how to use a sword. We'll cut over to Dax and Toriel, and you've put Geldir on the table, and she says, listen, unfortunately, we're going to have to wake him up. Most of the time when you work on patients, they will be awake, and getting feedback from them is valuable. It helps you figure out what you should be focusing on. Does that make sense?
No, that does make sense. Yeah, we should probably do that.
Excellent. So she turns around and grabs her bag of healer's tools and sets it on the table. And she says, why don't you go ahead and wake him up?
And then he'll just kind of look at his hands. Hey. And then I'll just start like kind of poking him in the face.
In the face?
Yeah. Just like in the cheek
be
and
careful.
stuff.
He has a broken nose. Maybe don't poke his... Okay, that's fine. He goes, hey, And he sits up and
good
he
morning,
flails
bud.
around.
How you feeling?
Did he punch me in the nose again?
Yeah, no, that's kind of his move. Hey, got some good news for you. Toriel over here, she's going to be teaching me how to do some healing, and lucky you're the only one around here that's hurting enough to warrant being healed.
Well, because of you guys punching me every 10 seconds. Where's the fish man? I got a bone to pick with him.
You know, I'm not actually. He's off doing other business.
Probably run away,
that's fine.
coward. Did you know they could hiss? I didn't know that.
You know, I'm going to be honest. No, I did not know they could do that. It's kind of weird.
It was kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. Don't tell him I said that.
Oh nope, secret safe with me.
Cool.
So, other than your nose, I mean, that's obviously broken.
Yeah,
You're
my
looking
nose.
like Owen Wilson over here.
Which is odd because Captain Nelly always said looked like Owen Wilson. So now maybe I'm like Captain Nelly. Maybe that means I'm captain. Maybe that's how you become captain.
You know, you might be onto something. That might
Full
be
circle.
real. I don't know.
I know.
I don't know how Drake Knights work.
It's actually
But
the scales, by
sorry,
the way.
anyway.
It's the scales, if you didn't notice.
Sure. What's the deal with those scales anyway?
Oh, yeah. Well, so you go through a ritual, whatever region you're captain of, the Drake of that region, you take one of its scales, Sindor does a little ritual on you, and then you can kind of sort of command the Drake and do some spells that are associated with the type of breath weapon that Drake has, in case you didn't pick up on your GM's lore there.
Sure. Does this hurt the Drake? Taking its scales? That seems kind of mean.
I mean, he's got lots of scales. It's not that big
Yeah,
a
I've
deal.
got
It's
lots
like
of hair,
taking
but
a
it
hair
hurts.
from you.
Wait, no, I don't. I'm a Drake. I'm a kobold. Scratch that. Yeah, I get. Sure, I suppose. In all of these Drake Knights, they were red, right?
The Drake Knights you fought the first time, they had the fish scale of Rhaegorn, and then when you fought Commander Krim, you had one of every scale.
Oh, okay. So tell me, Geldir, would it be helpful? I mean, I'm sure you won't tell me this, but would it be at all helpful if we had the scales? I mean, probably. Or do you have to go through a ritual for them to be worth anything?
Oh, it's a bit of a ritual. I mean, I don't really know how it works. Maybe you could figure it out. I don't know.
Wait, don't you have a scale?
Me? No, I don't have a scale. I wasn't a captain.
Oh, I missed that part where only captains do. My bad.
That's the first thing I said.
There's a lot going on. I wasn't expecting to have a conversation with the Drake Knight today.
You think you can't keep up? I've been knocked out like 4 times in 2 days.
Hey, you're in the right place.
The first thing I was about to drink was that cup of ale, and then the fishy boy kicked me over. Can you give me a glass of water or something?
I don't think I have any, Toriel.
Yes, I'll get you a glass of water. Turns around, fills it up out of a barrel, hands it to him. And he just gulps it immediately all the way, and then he hands it to her. Just fills it up again, gulps it all down, and he goes, finally. Seriously, my lips were so chapped. You don't know anyone who can heal chapped lips, do you?
That's kind of funny. Yeah, I don't think you want to talk to him. So
Is it Waltz?
it is.
Never mind then.
He's the only guy I've ever heard of who can heal chapped lips, but
He would have a cool skill like that. Dang it.
that is pretty cool.
Sucks.
So other than your obviously broken nose, what else you got going on?
Honestly, let's see. I got punched in the nose 3-4 times.
Right.
Let's see. I got thrown on some tables. My ribs are hurting a bit. Don't think about my shoulder. Been thrown down a few times. Got kicked back in the chair. Yeah, you can take a look at my shoulder, maybe.
All right, Toriel, what do you got for me?
All right. And then she pulls out her healer's tools and is going to start teaching you a few things because Zach does not know anything about fixing shoulders. So
I think we should give unsolicited medical advice.
Unsolicited shoulder advice
on this Pathfinder.
I think
Right,
you want to
as a
just
physical
find,
therapist.
yeah. I think you want to just find the point it hurts, and then just kind of keep doing that motion to just like verify that it hurts and get your
Right.
body used to the pain, and then it'll
Sure.
just kind of like figure out that it needs to fix itself.
Cool.
Should probably like bend the shoulder back,
Yeah,
even when it feels like it should stop. Keep going
yeah,
until
for sure.
it pops.
Yeah, and like if you ever have back pain, like I saw in The Dark Knight Rises, you just like get punched in the spine. And then it'll fix your broken back. So that's stuff like that. She starts teaching you how to do that.
Puts all the slip discs back into place. You know?
Yeah, it's pretty simple, really. Like I don't know why healthcare costs so much. You can just punch
Yeah.
someone in the back. So yeah, Dax, Toriel also pulls out this journal she has of a lot of handwritten notes she's made and just some simple drawings to help with certain things that she's
cool.
accumulated over the years, and she's showing you how to read it and where to find things and giving you advice and working on Geldir.
So that's what that's called? Huh.
Yeah, the ribs. What do you mean? Yeah. the
Now, do
ears,
only humans have those?
ribs? Oh man, we're gonna take a while. Geldir's like, I don't think this guy should be doing anything on my shoulder right now. Oh, this is gonna be a long day. And with that, we'll cut to Waltz and Dunadast and Jules. And Waltz, I think you were taking your stab at the second acid gland. Hopefully not an actual stab.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, but now with a calming melody.
So yeah, roll a performance check.
Oh, all right. Oh god,
See how much you can boost him. It's like you guys just botched this whole thing.
that's okay. We're good. 24.
Nice. So Jules, you pull out your ocarina and you start playing this nice tune, and it's got very good acoustics in his lab, surprisingly. And Waltz, it's very calming to you. You don't feel the need to gaslight Jules any further. And you can
Thank
roll the
God.
same lore check with a +2 status bonus.
Oh yeah, it's all coming back to me, just like I'm back at home.
You have Drakes at your butcher.
Okay, so I rolled an 11.
You remember how you kind of came in too fast last time and didn't scope out the anatomy as well as you should have, and you're a little bit more careful this time, and you just take a deep breath and let a song play and calm your nerves, and you slice the gland and chop it off, and you're able to pull it out of the Drake's mouth.
Whew. It's nervy
Oh
with
yeah,
that 11.
see, I told you, Jules, I just need a little bit better lighting and to kind of calm my nerves a little bit. You know, it all comes back to me. It's been a while since I've done anything butcher related, and I got burned on the neck, and that still kind of hurts.
To be fair,
I got
lad,
a lot
this
of
is
excuses.
A highly difficult
It
procedure.
does sound that way.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I could, if you want to hear more excuses on why the first one didn't go well, but it's
It's
definitely
not
not my
necessary,
lack
yeah.
of.
Just
It's not necessary.
It's fine.
Dunadest is right.
yes, set it here, lad.
And I'll just kind of
Carefully.
sit there. Oh yeah, listen, Jules, you just keep playing that little ocarina of yours. I like that tune.
So Waltz sets the gland down where Dunadast instructs, and then Dunadast turns around and opens a little chest in the corner of his room, rummages around, and turns around with this glowing crystal that's glowing this dim blue, but it's giving off a subtle glow around him. And Jules, you would instantly recognize this as a sun shard.
Dunadest. Is that a sun shard?
Oh, yeah. He looks down at it and looks up at you. Yes, it is. You are familiar?
Yes, very familiar. I mean, I can't say I know how to utilize them to make them work, but I do know that they create sun powder. Where I come from, it's a very coveted resource for my trade of work.
I could imagine amongst pirates this would be highly valuable. What's of you, Waltz? Are you familiar?
No, I don't believe I am. What is this sun shard?
Oh, well, you see, they're from Drakis. It's the closest planet to the sun, of course, and during the long day cycle of Drakis, it is charged by the intense radiation of the close proximity to the sun. There are micro shards within this one that retain that radiation and give it its glow. The longer it's away from Drakis' sun, the weaker it becomes. Sunlight on other planets can charge it to some extent, but it could never replicate the intense radiation of Drakis. The microshards within it can be ground into a powder, creating sun powder, which enables people to make firearms of sorts, which is what we're going to do. Would you like to look at it? And he hands it out to you, Waltz.
Yeah, I'll inspect it.
So right when you touch it, it starts to glow very bright. It illuminates the entire room and is glowing all around you.
I'll say, oh yeah, that's
Oh my
it's pretty bright.
Lad, what are you doing?
Dunadast,
How are you doing this?
what's happening?
Waltz, how are you doing this?
Oh yeah, I'm honestly I've dealt with a lot of heavy objects in my day, so something like this is not
This is very
not
light.
too heavy to me. Oh, for me, absolutely.
It's the hair. That's why he could lift things.
Just
I
so
wasn't
finely
insinuating.
qualled.
He reaches out his hand to have you hand it back to him,
I'll hand it back.
and then the glow stops, and then he looks back at you again, and then tries to hand it to you one more time to see if it happens again.
Yeah, I'll slowly kind of grab it and take it in my hands.
Then it starts glowing once again, and he says, "Lad, are you performing a spell at the moment?"
There's been times in the past day or two where I've been able to heal individuals, but I haven't really learned to control anything like that. I don't know if I'm actively doing anything.
Wait, that healing magic you used, that was innate?
No, I didn't always have that, but I realized when I came to this planet and I was injured, I was able to heal myself, and I was able to do the same thing to Ryu a couple times now. I don't really know how to control it, but it just seems like something that's new and that I've been able to channel.
This is fascinating. So you're not trained in any sorts of magic? You're not using arcane, primal, occult magic of any sort?
No, I mean, some people have said that the meats that we provide back home are magical, but no actual magic spells, no.
Dunadas rolls his eyes, shakes his head.
I'll look to Jules. I'm like, yeah, I know. We're a pretty good butcher shop back home. One of these days we'll have to get some good meats, and I'll cook them for you, Jules.
Sounds wonderful. Dunadas, do you have any idea what is causing this?
I'm afraid I'm not well versed in how to utilize the various strands of magic in the way a caster would be able to, but I have a hunch. I suppose it could be the radia, divine magic. It selects you. It would explain why he was suddenly given these gifts. I suppose in hindsight it makes sense with his ability to heal, perhaps, but it's incredibly rare, and depending on which strand of the radia you're wielding, it could be even rarer. This is most fascinating. I do not believe in coincidences, and your arrival here and your gifts seem all rather timely.
I would agree. It does seem serendipitous that we've all ended up here around the same time that we did. I can't say I know how everyone got here, but the circumstances that led me here were certainly abnormal.
Interesting. He lowers he takes the sun shard from Waltz and lowers it to his side, and he says, "I would love to talk more about how you got here and what happened, but I don't know if we have the time for such things." And he turns towards the sifter that had the gland on it, and he puts another sifter beneath that one, and then sets the sun shard on it. And then he punctures the acid gland, and it drips down through the first sifter, and then hits the sun shard that's resting on the second, and starts to melt away the outside of the crystal, and melt past it, and then you see it leave behind the micro shards that he was talking about that were glowing, and then run its way down into the pot. And then he takes that sifter and shakes out the acid, and he says, "The Drake's acid is perhaps one of the purest ways to extract the micro shards from the sun shard. If you simply tried to break it or do something a bit more barbaric, you could perhaps fracture them." And he lays it out on the table, and then starts to grind them into a fine powder.
Probably starting to look more familiar to me.
Yeah, and Jules, you start to recognize it as the gunpowder. It has that similar bluish shimmer to it, and it's into a fine dust, and he grinds for a while until he gets it to a very fine powder, and then he brushes it into a sack, and then ties the sack, and hands it over to you, Jules. And then He goes back into his chest and he pulls out an ornate-looking pistol and hands that to you as well, Jules.
Yes.
He goes,
Yeah.
I trust you are familiar with this.
Indeed I am. Thank you.
Yes. And he goes back into his chest one more time and then pulls out another sack, and you can kind of hear what sounds like marbles jiggling around inside of it. He sets it on the table and he opens it up, and you see 3 bullets, so round balls, and one is glowing slightly blue, the other one's glowing slightly red, and then the other one is glowing with a white aura. And he explains, I was able to salvage some arcanate from a sunken ship a while back. Using the fragments of magic that remained, I was able to enchant these 3. You see, one is infused with cold damage. This would perhaps damage a flame drake greatly. This one here is infused with fire damage, which would of course damage a frost drake immensely. And this one here is infused with force damage, which would damage all of them, perhaps, but you see drakes have innate weaknesses. Unfortunately, the desert drake in Gainmar does not share any of these, but if you encounter a frost or a flame drake, these will surely do the trick. This other one, well, call it a wild card of sorts if you ever need it. And he brushes it back into the sack, hands it over to you guys, and then he looks at Jules and says, I trust you know how to load the pistol.
I do. And then I'll look him in the eye and give him a head nod, and I'll say, thank you, Dunadast.
Excellent. Lads, I have a very scientific mind. When things seem out of place, unorthodox, they must be questioned, they must be understood. The 4 of you have arrived to the same island with nodes that have been deactivated for centuries, within days of each other perhaps, and found each other very quickly, and are already making a difference to a place in dire need. This is no coincidence. I suggest you all ponder how you got here, perhaps discuss it amongst yourselves. Certainly there are some commonalities. Perhaps it'll shed some light on our situation. And he gives you guys a nod and looks back to his table that is completely melted and says, I must attend to my lab. Perhaps the rest of you should find your party and journey outwards.
Dunadast, you mind if I take this knife? I seem to have misplaced my sword a while ago, and this is a pretty nice knife.
He laughs. Are you serious? I mean, surely your sword is in the town center where you were fighting. You're just going to give up on your...
If you really think I'll find it, but it seems like there's been a lot of traffic through that area, and I'm sure somebody else has probably taken it by this point.
Walt, I'll help you find it.
I mean, you can take it. It's fine. It's the least.
Just in case we can't find it, right, Jules? I might as well take the knife too.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Just in case. I'll help you.
Why the radio would have chosen you, I do not know.
Burn!
That was really uncalled for.
Sorry,
I didn't like that
I didn't mean
at
it
all.
like that. It's a very
I like
curious
when we make
situation.
fun of
is all.
Jules instead. I don't like when we make fun of me. I'm kind of sensitive, you know.
Oh, no, that I wasn't. It's just all I'm saying is magic acts in ways I will never be able to comprehend. Does that
It's not
sound
really
nicer?
helping
Oh,
how
that's
you're
not-
He's trying
explaining
to
it
tell you
anymore.
that you're special.
Listen, I'm not very good at this sort of thing. I'm a very pragmatic individual.
Let's
Yeah.
go find your sword.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
As we're walking out, though, I'll kind of stop and remember something. I'll turn to Dunadast. Dunadast,
Yes.
sorry, one more thing. Do the words Septim Solis mean anything to you?
You see him look up. He's thinking, that's, Elder Tongue. I'm a bit rusty. Let me think. Septum Solis, you said?
Yes.
I believe that means 7th from the sun. Why?
I'll kind of think about it. Does 7th from the sun, like,
It would mean
bring
it
any
wouldn't really mean
significance to
anything.
me?
Yeah. Not
so
like
if
innately.
that's the case, yeah. He'll kind of stare off for a second and shake his head. No reason. Thank you, Dunadast.
Yes.
And then turn and we'll head up.
Excellent.
So, Walt, where's the last place? Where did you drop it?
Oh, it's actually by these cabbages. They were in a crate, and I was trying to convince them that I was bringing the cabbages for them, and they told me to drop my sword. So it should be in.
We'll look there. We'll look there.
Yeah.
You guys climb up the stairs, and you hear, "Hey, Waltz." And standing at the top of the stairs is Benjamin,
No.
holding your sword out at a perfect 90-degree angle with his arms.
What a good friend.
Oh my gosh.
Found your
perfect
sword.
90-degree angle.
Oh, Benjamin, yeah, it's not the greatest idea to maybe point someone's sword at them, especially while they're going upstairs and you're pointing the sharp end towards them. But I really
sorry.
appreciate that you found this.
Should I put it back by the cabbages?
Yeah, if you just put it back, but no, I'll just take it. It's all right,
Oh, okay.
Benjamin. I appreciate it.
Benjamin, if we're giving advice, might you try breathing through your nose sometime?
What do you mean?
Nothing.
I have a stuffy nose. Summer cold.
I'll reach out and kind of grab the sword from Benjamin, just pat him on the shoulder as I, kind of walk up the stairs past him.
Hey, do you mind gathering your friends? I need to tell you guys something.
Where do you want us to meet you? Why don't you come with us to the tavern? I think that's where we're headed, right, Walt?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah, that'd be cool. You guys would all four of you would come to meet me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Benjamin's meeting for Digsby's
I mean, we're going to the tavern. You're coming with, so...
no, because it was my idea. All right, let's go.
Hey, why don't you go find a table for us to sit at? We'll meet you
Okay,
there.
yeah.
I have something I wanted to talk to Jules about.
I don't know if it's like a sit down worthy thing. It's not that big of a deal, but okay. I just wanted to tell you all something quick.
Yeah.
All right,
We'll see you there, buddy.
Okay. He sprints.
Like, I imagine him, like, just calmly walking out, and then as soon as he gets out the door, he turns towards the direction of the tavern, and then just takes off.
He straight arm sprints, like his arms
gonna
are like
say.
perfectly straight, and he's
It's like
sprinting as fast
I
as
imagine
possible.
no arm
like-
pump or anything. Yeah, just
It's like Napoleon Dynamite energy.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. We'll jump over to Dax, and you finished administering some kind of physical therapy to Geldir. You patched him up a bit, fixed his nose somewhat, and he goes, "Hey, you're pretty good at that, man."
Thanks. I mean, it's all due to Toriel.
Oh yeah.
She's
Thank you, madam. Tips his head. She goes, "Yeah, don't worry about it. Look, you guys have done enough horrible things on Nisserine. Maybe you can actually help them out and do some good for once." He goes, "That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take him to Scale Keep. You patched me up. I'll do right by you. Don't worry." She goes, And then she turns to you, Dax, and says, "Listen, you can keep this journal. I've certainly memorized all the pages. It's yours." Hands it to you.
You're kidding.
No. No, I'm dead serious.
I'm dead.
Super cereal.
Why would I lie
Oh,
about
God.
that?
Cereal.
You think I'm no cap? You think you're on punked?
No cap.
No cap.
For real, for real.
For real, you can keep it.
Well, I appreciate it. I'll be sure to put it to good use. Thanks again. And then I will.
No, thank you. And she also hands you the bag of healer's tools.
Right. Yeah, I'll need those too.
Try not to lose them. Take better care of him than Waltz does with his sword.
Right? Isn't that just insane?
It was odd. The whole time I
It's
was
like
like,
he-
you should probably have that.
Right. It's like the one thing you need. But hey,
Well,
I mean, he's
an
done well
idiot,
without
so
it.
it makes a lot of sense.
Hey, look, dude.
What?
Read the room.
What?
Come on.
You're all pointing out something stupid that he does. He's an idiot.
Sure. I mean, look.
So you agree? I'll tell him. Let's go.
No, God. Gildir, come on, man. Let's go. Let's
All right.
go
Let's
back
go.
to the tavern. We'll get this.
You step
figured
out the
We'll head
door.
out.
The door opens and Gelder goes, "What is going on here?" And you just see Ryu out there training a bunch of people with a sword. And he's like yelling at them, probably.
No, I think Ryu isn't really even doing this to make sure that he's giving them like 100% amazing training. He's like, if they pay attention, they learn. If they're not, then he's
be it.
fine. Yeah, then he's just done with it.
Hey, looks like he's got a kind heart after all. Not so scary.
No, he's still pretty terrifying. I mean,
That's true.
he's pretty terrifying to me too. Not me being on his team isn't really, or in the same little group is not necessarily.
You scared of him too?
I mean, he's a little intimidating. I don't know that I'd say I'm scared. I'm pretty.
I mean, I would never
I
say
can
it to
hold
his
my
face,
own.
but yeah, he does scare me. He does scare me, yes.
I'm pretty sure you told him literally earlier today that you were scared.
Sorry, I have like 3 concussions simultaneously, so I can't. It's keeping it straight's a little difficult.
No, that's fair. All right, let's go. And then I'll kind of put my hand on his back and direct him towards the tavern.
So you guys start working towards the tavern again. Probably scoop up Ryu along the way.
Yeah, I don't know that I go out of my way to do it. I guess, like, yeah, I don't think Dax is gonna like see him and then like go get him. I think he will kind of just go and then hope that he is keeping track of time or whatever and goes back. But I don't think Dax goes and gets him.
Okay. Ryu, so you sense Dax and Geldir walking by.
I start to wrap things up with Ira, and I tell her, continue practicing. Those should be the basics. But don't forget what I told you.
I won't. Look, I appreciate it, even though your methods are a little unconventional.
I'll kind of whip my sword around, throw it into its sheath. Don't get yourself killed. And I'll make my way towards where I'm sensing Dax and maybe Waltz and Jules at this point going towards the tavern.
So you guys are starting to walk back into the tavern, and you see Jules and Waltz off in the distance coming out of Dunadast's hut. So we'll cut back over to Waltz and Jules real quick.
Hey, Jules, can I be honest with you about something?
Absolutely. What is it?
I feel like we got to keep it together for Dax. I feel like he's handling the death of Digsby pretty tough, and I think we all are. But if I'm being honest, that the death of Digsby's also made me pretty angry. It seems like there's just a lot of unnecessary violence in this world, and I'm sorry I got angry at you earlier and got a little snippy, but, I'm starting to really feel a lot of anger towards these Drake Knights and trying to suppress a lot of this anger. And I wanted to be upfront about this with you because when we run back into Dax, we can't let him know these things. We got to be strong for him. He's our friend.
I'll be a little surprised that Waltz opened up like that. Wasn't expecting that. So I won't say anything at first, and then I'll put my hand on his shoulder. Of course, Waltz. First off, no apology necessary. I know, just as you do, how difficult it is to deal with the loss of a friend. And we all cope with it in different ways, but the important thing is to be true to each other, honest, patient, and together we'll get through this. As for your anger, I couldn't agree more with you. I just want nothing more than to take down these Drake Knights. So let's channel that anger towards them.
I promise I'll do anything I can and everything I can to make sure that you guys all make it out of this thing alive, because looks like you guys are now my best friends, and I'm really lucky to have you guys.
We're in this together, brother. And then I'll extend my hand.
I'll firmly grasp it and kind of put my arm around him and pat him on the back and walk the rest of the way towards the party.
Except we do the forearm one, right?
Oh,
yeah,
of course.
yeah. Or the one from which Rocky movie is that, where they just like grab hands?
It's, I think it's like Rocky 3, maybe.
And their biceps are just massive, dude.
Yeah.
No,
Let's
yeah,
do
and,
that
and
one.
sweaty.
Let's do that one.
Yeah.
Your
that be-
bicep is massive. Mine's just like nice and cut.
Well,
Can that be like the
Jules
artwork
is
for
still
this too?
shimmering from his dip in the ocean, so
But yeah,
he
I'm
does have
shimmering.
shimmering
Oh.
muscles.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Can that
Can
that be the artwork for this episode? Is just like my bicep and your blue
Maybe
if the
bicep?
patrons,
Depends on what
vote
the
on it.
patrons vote on, yeah.
Make it
Oh
so.
yeah. Right.
All right, so with that, you guys merge back into a party of 4 entering the tavern. Do you guys want to catch up at all, or?
Waltz, I trust Benjamin made his way to you.
Yeah, he gave me my sword. It was really nice of him. That Benjamin guy. He actually wants to talk to us right now, so we should probably go meet him.
Dax will open the door to the tavern and kind of lead Geldir through it with his new medicine bag on his shoulder.
Oh, Gil, buddy, you're looking a lot better.
You're still looking ugly and stupid, but the reason I look better is because this one here patched me up. Did a mighty fine job. Pats him on the shoulder.
All right. Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah, whatever, idiot.
Yeah, fellas, Toriel gave me some supplies and kind of showed me how to do a few things. Unfortunately, the subject of those teachings was Geldir here, so he's doing fine now. But
aren't you
Happy to
lucky?
be the guinea pig, my friend.
but yeah, I'm feeling a little more confident that I can help out next time. Next time we need it.
Not gonna be able to help out much when they're incinerated from an electric Drake breath weapon, but hey, doesn't hurt to try.
Dax, is there anything you learned from Toriel that might shut someone up?
I know you got a sense of humor. You didn't like my joke about staying hydrated.
I'm afraid that's a little beyond her scope, unfortunately.
Oh, very funny.
Don.
Dax, do you want a little bit more practice on patching somebody up? Because I could punch him a couple more times. in the
Seriously,
face
please
here.
do not. I think if you did that one more time, I'd have to remove my nose entirely.
You know what? I maybe I could. I'll let you know.
need.
I'll keep it in mind.
No more jokes. Got it.
In front of Geldir, I walk up to Waltz and I say, Waltz, would you mind? And I pat my chapped lips.
It seems that after the battle that my healing's still a little bit exhausted, and I'll just look down. I tried pretty recently, but it doesn't seem like it's happening right now, Ryu.
I guess water will have to suffice, and I'll make my way towards the bar.
I'll follow Ryu, but I will order I'll order ales for all of us, including Geldir.
Jules, I'm glad you came because I actually don't know where the bar is.
This way, friend.
Jules, I also wanted to tell you that we should make haste out of here. I know we had some business to take care of, but we really shouldn't tarry long. The longer we stay here, the more likely we are to run into more Drake Knights within this town that could be dangerous.
Understood, and I agree.
Hey
Yeah,
guys.
why don't we take these to go?
Hey guys, I'm over. No, hey guys.
Oh, hey,
Oh,
Benjamin,
yes.
what's up?
Hey,
Benjamin had something he wanted to tell us.
Yes.
Go
Ah.
ahead, Benjamin.
Okay, what's up, bud?
thanks for coming here, everybody, for my meeting. You noticed behind him he had like 4 or 5 other townsfolk that he was conversing with, and they stopped talking when he walked away. He says, "Listen, I haven't really done much, in the past 20 or so years. I've kind of lost my sense of purpose. The reason being is I used to ferry a vessel, between Nisserine and Curia back in the day. I arrived and docked my ship, and that's when all the Drake Knights, all that stuff happened, and I got stuck here and I couldn't sail away. And I just haven't really been able to do anything, because I can't use the boats. But you guys have inspired me, I want to make a difference, because I'm in Digsby's crew."
Well,
I say we just stare at him.
yeah, I just clear my Dex. Just clears his throat.
Yeah.
Waltz will put his hand on Dax's shoulder.
Yeah, anyway, so I got my whole crew back together and we were talking, we could clean some of the barnacles off and whatnot, and I went on the ship and rummaged through some of my old stuff, and he reaches into his shirt and he pulls something that you recognize instantly, Jules. It's like this thick magical wand with a red stripe at the top, and you know that sailors keep these on ships and they aim them into the sky if they ever sink to shoot off a flare, and then once that wand's been expended, the red stripe goes away. And he hands it over to you, Jules. He goes, you sail ships, right? You know what this is.
I do indeed.
Right, well, anyways, when I was in the meeting and all, and I heard about all the drakes, I know sometimes things don't go according to plan, and, well, if for whatever reason you don't have time to take on one of the drakes, you shoot that flare into the air, and me and my crew will hop in that ship and lure that drake away from you guys. You got that?
I'm actually a bit surprised at the heroic gesture. So for the first time, I'll give him a look of respect and shake his hand. And can't believe I'm saying this. Thank you, Benjamin. It's very brave of you.
Hey.
Ryu, initially concerned that Benjamin was going to suggest joining us on our adventure, says, Benjamin, I think you staying here and doing that sounds like a very admirable act.
Yeah, Benjamin, I gotta be honest, when I first met you, this is probably one of the last things that I ever expected from you, so I'm very proud of you, Benjamin.
That's very honorable of you, Benjamin. Thank you.
Hey, us Digsby crew members gotta do what we gotta do. Digsby didn't die so the Drake Knights could win. Let's stick it to those suckers.
I'll cheers to that. Then I'll
Yeah.
hold up my glass.
I'll push my glass into Dax's.
I'll push my stein into Dax's and Jules.
I stand there with my glass in hand.
I'll grab his glass and pull it up into the group.
Yes,
And then
of
I'll
course.
say, for Digsby.
For Digsby.
For Digsby.
For Digsby.
And that is where we'll end our session.
There you go.
Lots
For
of intrigue
Digsby.
this episode.
Yeah, we're kind of expanding on the lore a bit, but shut up, because we
I
will
wasn't gonna
talk
say
about that.
anything.
Shut
Say
up.
anything.
Shut
Jeez,
up.
Zach.
God,
We'll
I
talk
didn't
about it
say
in the
anything.
downtime. We know this. We know this. But hey, guess what? We're also going to give a patron shout out because we launched episode 1 a week ago in our world. I know this is episode 8. And we've already had some patrons hop aboard, and we've just been having a ton of fun hanging out in the Discord with them, chatting it up. And these are some great fellas. I just want to give a shout out to Wesley, Alex, Hunter, and HMO2U Fools on our Patreon. Yeah, thanks,
calling
man.
me fools?
Just rolls off the
Are you
tongue.
calling our patrons fools?
That's his name. That's his patron name. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So
Big
thank you.
shout out.
It's been awesome
Huge
having you guys
yes.
in the party.
thank you.
Thank you
Thank
guys so
you,
much.
And
Super
obviously,
appreciate it.
I want to thank my crew. I want to thank Joel for his awesome editing, because we stutter all the time, we stop all the time, we are not gifted speakers, but he makes us sound competent. And we thank
you,
you
Joel.
for that, Joel. And I want to give a
You
shout out
bet.
to Taryn for his awesome sound effects, music, all the work he puts in whenever something strikes that ambience or puts you in that real theater of the mind. That's Taryn hard at work.
I love you,
So
Taryn.
thank you, Taryn.
I make the music too. I make it.
no, yeah, we'll get to that. And thank you, Adam, for your awesome artwork. I'm sure you guys have seen it by now if you're listening to this show. All those sweet character portraits.
Huge props to Adam. He is
Yeah,
like,
action shots.
just making this so much cooler.
We're on YouTube now.
I love
That
you,
sweet
me.
background, all of that rendering,
Yeah.
that was him.
Yeah.
So yeah, just other stuff. The session sketches that you can see if you're a patron on our Patreon feed. He makes a sketch that commemorates every session and he just spits it out in a day. Awesome. Thank you, Adam. And thank you, Ryan, for your awesome music.
I love you, Ryan.
Every episode, Ryan spins up a new original track. And again, we all have jobs. So Ryan comes home at the end of the day and he goes to the lab and he spins up a new awesome song. And
Mostly just ocarina songs for every
yeah, and it's
episode.
kind of ocarina every time.
Requires
Jules will do.
one.
And
You're
he
welcome.
I
breathes
thought of that
life
when I was like,
Welcome.
right after I asked for the song from Jules, I was like, Ryan's.
There's only
Yeah,
so
that's
many
actually-
melodies in the world, guys.
and he breathes life into all
Yeah.
these episodes. And we could not do this if this wasn't all of us together. So I just thank you guys so much. And of course, above all, thank you, listener, for hanging out with us.
I
We
love
love
you,
you. We
listener.
love this community. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all the awesome feedback. Thank you for sticking with us to episode 8. It's been awesome. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time, mortals.